Yo, it's your boy Bernard, and welcome to another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast. I'll be discussing everything nerdy that has caught my eye this week. I almost did not record because I had a super migraine and just didn't want to do anything. I was in the bed until about an hour ago. Let's get into it. We got to give a rest in peace to George Lowe. So George Lowe was a voice actor who appeared in a lot of things that we may have seen as children, but the main thing that he appeared in was Space Ghost. So he was the voice of Space Ghost on Space Ghost Coast to Coast. He passed away on the 2nd of March at the age of 67 while recovering from a heart surgery procedure that he underwent in November. So it looks like it was natural causes. Like I said before, if you watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast, you would remember that it was a talk show. So it wasn't an action show like the traditional Space Ghost series was that aired in the 60s. So this was supposed to be like a off-center, heavily edited talk show where Space Ghost would interview real people and ask them about their superpowers. And doing research for this episode, I actually found out that they would switch out whoever Space Ghost was whoever Space Ghost was interviewing. So let's say he was interviewing Kevin Bacon and he asked them about Footloose. They would basically use a different actor and still use those Kevin Bacon questions.
Greetings, citizens. I'm Space Ghost. What do you get when you cross a zombie with a raven? A very dead bird.
Yes, sir. Dead as a doornail. That is what you get. Yeah.
Who's the geezer?
Also visiting tonight is my granddad, all the way from Boca Raton.
Sunshine State. Oh, yeah.
Sounds like Randy Savage.
Well, it's not, Zorak. It's my granddad, okay? So you can just shut up about that, Zorak.
Oh, yeah. You tell him, Teddy.
Well, it looks like you with a pasted-on beard.
It's not, Zorak, okay? Those are real hairs. I can see them from here.
Who's that little runt over there? Is that Blip?
No, Grandpa, that's Zorak.
How you doing, Blip? I need to start you out with some chin-ups.
Stay away from me, old fool.
Who's that red-headed fella over there?
That's Moltar, my director.
Moltar from the ovens of Moltor. I met your father once in a steel cage. I wish you could have seen your old man weeping like a woman after my patented pile driver. Yeah, your dad remembers me. Ooh, yeah!
But yes, so he was also on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is one of my favorite shows. C-Lab 2021, The Brack Show, Robot Chicken, Azzy McGee, which was a deep cut, Squidbillies, The BS of A with Brian Stack, 12 Ounce Mouse, American Dad, and he actually made a final appearance on Jellystone, which actually airs on Max and Cartoon Network as Space Ghost. He also was the narrator for the Grinch video game, Adventure Quest, he was himself. Mech Quest, he was also himself. And Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion, he was the announcer in Space Ghost. He also provided the voice of Space Ghost in the Aqua Teen Hunger Force : movie film for theaters. I don't think I still haven't seen this. I've seen it, but I didn't see it. And what I mean by that is, basically 3 years after the movie came out in theaters, Adult Swim aired it on TV, but they only aired it in the bottom left-hand corner. So no matter what was on, except the commercial, it only showed up in the bottom left-hand corner, and it was about maybe a 3x2 inch screen or whatever. But yeah, we got to give a rest in peace to George Lowe. So he is the final person in the main cast of Space Ghost Coast to Coast to pass. So C. Martin Crocker, who provided the voice of Zorak and Moltar, passed away in 2016, I believe. Yes, he passed away in 2016, unfortunately. So moment of silence for Mr. Lowe. Also, my next story is we actually got a cause of death for Gene Hackman and his wife. So they said Gene Hackman literally passed away a week after his wife Betsy Arakawa. They said that his wife died from hantavirus, which is a potentially fatal disease transmitted by mice. And they said that Gene Hackman died from heart disease, with Alzheimer also being a factor into his passing. So I never heard of hantavirus, and that's kind of creepy because I do deal with insects. With not insects, rodents, but 9 times out of 10 they're dead. So, oof. Yeah, they didn't give a cause of death for the dog. I think the dog was in a cage in the closet because they had just taken the dog to the vet and got surgery. So I guess the dog possibly died of starvation. So this one hit the internet and people lost their damn minds. Or in the words of Ice-T, people lost their goddamn minds. So me and Samir talked about this years ago. I'm actually going to see if I can find what episode it was that we talked about this. This was episode 9, which we recorded back in 2020. You could have gave that to Hungry Children. And this was about Powerpuff. The CW, before it was sold to Nexstar, was originally going to do a live action Powerpuff Girls series where Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have all basically gone their separate ways because of something that happened. And the trailer leaked a couple days ago. Warner Brothers said, nah, let's take this down and act like it didn't exist. I downloaded it, by the way. I might try to post it, but it might get taken down. So Lost Media Busters, who is a YouTube channel whose whole deal is uncovering lost and unreleased footage in media, found the Powerpuff trailer and posted it. So, like, just to give you guys a refresher, who was going to be starring in it, Chloe Bennett was going to be Blossom. Dove Cameron, well, let me also tell you where the people were from. Chloe Bennett was from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She played Daisy Johnson. Dove Cameron from Descendants was going to be Bubbles. And Yana Peralt, who was a singer, was going to be Bubblecup. And Donald Faison was going to be Professor Utonium. Robin Lively was Sarah Bellum. Nicholas Pondy was Jojo Mondale, who was Mojo Jojo's son. So Tom Kenny actually came back and did the narration for the trailer, and it follows them basically growing up, and it showed that, like, Bubbles had a drinking problem, Buttercup still had her attitude, and Blossom more or less was the still kind of like the stable one. But the show actually took a dark twist, so the girls actually killed Mojo Jojo, but it's still not really declared if they're responsible or not. And they basically split up and they leave Townsville. Mojo Jojo Jr. actually becomes the mayor of Townsville, and from what the trailer showed was Mojo Jojo Jr. was actually going to get revenge on Professor Utonium, and it involved mind control of the people of Townsville, and the girls eventually come back and save the day. So I don't know the last update I gave you guys on this. Actually, let me look that up as well. But originally, only the pilot was shot, and Chloe Bennett had dropped out. That was the last thing I actually gave you guys. It was on episode 56. I'm just struggling. I'm just kind of struggling at this point, and that was in 2021. So Chloe Bennett originally left. They were going to reshoot the pilot, and then that was all that we heard. And the reason why they were going to reshoot it was because it was, quote unquote, too campy. I mean, the Powerpuff Girls is campy, but I guess camp only works as a animated series for the most part. And people were like, oh, this looks like a CW show. That's because it was supposed to be a CW show. What are you talking about? Shut up if you don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know what people expected from this show. I mean, it was done by Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno. She did one of my favorite shows on Showtime, The United States of Terror. yeah, I mean, who knows what it would have looked like if it actually got the final reshot. The pilot was reshot, and you know, sometimes the first trailer just doesn't do it. I mean, I believe the CW greenlit the show and then rescinded the green light after, I guess, they couldn't find anybody to replace Chloe Bennett. And Chloe left due to scheduling conflicts. So I don't know what the scheduling conflict was, because I remember when I found that out, I was like, what schedule conflict could there be? Because she didn't have anything on her filmography, like in between then. But apparently she actually did. She did a show called Abominable in the Invisible City, which I believe aired on Netflix. What the hell is it? Oh, it's on Peacock and Hulu. I don't know what people expected, but yeah, Nexstar actually made the announcement that they were canceling it. So yeah, it is what it is. So no live action Powerpuff Girls. I've never really been a fan of the Powerpuff Girls, but the trailer did entertain me. So what are you gonna do? All right, what is my next story? Okay, so my next story, it's a comic book that, once again, me and Samir told you guys about 3 or 4 years ago. Done by Keanu Reeves. I believe it was announced back in 2020. BRZRKR. It's a comic book that was written by Keanu Reeves and Matt Kent. The movie has officially been greenlit, and Justin Lin will be directing. There's not really much information given, besides, you know, this was announced back in 2021 alongside a 2-season anime adaptation. I just hope it's good, because I like the comic. I actually met the artist who drew the comic, Ron Garney. I think this is like the third time I met him. And I got the issue 1 CGC graded. Actually, you know, it might actually be time to try to put that on eBay. You know, as a matter of fact, hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna see if I can find it. All right, correction. I did not get this one CGC signed. I got it done by CBCS. So it's a 9.6 grade. Ron Garney's autograph is right there. And this is the Mark Brooks cover. And I got this signed July 9th, 2022. And it took almost a year to get back to me. But yeah, the book is done. It was 12 issues. And I believe that there were 2 one-shots afterwards. I'm double checking that as we speak, because I think one of them was called like City of B or something like that. All right, so there was BRZRKR Face Full of Bullets. Oh, it was the Lost Book of B. Okay, there were several that I need to check out. So there's BRZRKR Poetry and Madness, BRZRKR Fallen Empire. These are just one-shots. And BRZRKR The Lost Book of B. And Face Full of Bullets. So the story with BRZRKR is he's an immortal who basically ends up working for the government as more or less a hitman. Yeah, so he's this is the synopsis for issue 1. The man known only as BRZRKR is a half mortal and half god, cursed and compelled to violence, even at the sacrifice of his own sanity. But after wandering the world for centuries, BRZRKR may have finally found a refuge, working for the U.S. government to fight battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. In exchange, BRZRKR will be granted the one thing he desires: the truth about his endless, blood-soaked existence and how to end it. So, yeah. You should probably be able to check out, I guess it's still considered renting, the paperbacks at your local library if you don't want to buy them, because I think they're about $20 a piece, and there's 3 for the main book because it's 12 issues, so it's split into I believe 4 issue arcs. And then there's the collection of one shots. So 4 trades all together. But yeah, I really enjoyed the book. So I highly recommend it. And I'll actually be having some more recommendations at the close to the tail end of this episode, when I will be going over the things that caught my eye for comic book previews for May, I want to say. Because I think I did April last month. Yes, for May. So we actually got some casting news for Scream 7. And I was like, okay, so we're doing this. Third person to come back. And that is David Arquette will be reprising his role as Dewey from Scream 7. And I know what you're thinking. Hey guys, say what? Didn't Dewey die in Scream 5? Spoiler alert for what, a 4-year-old movie? I'm sorry, a 3-year-old movie? And I don't want to hear shit because you had the chance to watch it. But yeah, so I'm guessing it's flashbacks because I believe they even had Dewey's funeral. I think there was more casting news, but I'm double checking real quick. But I think that might have been it, actually. Yeah, that's it. I think. Oh yeah, Patrick Dempsey was asked to come back, but he couldn't due to a scheduling conflict, and that might have been for Dexter Original Sin. Like, I'm looking now, just to confirm everyone who is either coming back or joining the franchise. So we got Scott Foley returning after appearing in Scream 3 in 2000. He played Roman, Sidney's half-brother. Matthew Lillard is returning as what's his name? Stu. What was his last name? I can't remember. From Scream 1. David Arquette, like we said, Dewey Riley, died in Scream 5, is returning. McKenna Grace is joining the franchise. Asa German joining the franchise as well. Isabel May joining the franchise. Sam Breckner joining the franchise. Celeste O'Connor joining the franchise. Anna Camp also joining. Why didn't they just put all this on one page? Joe McHale joining. Mark Consuelos joining. Ethan Embry joining the franchise as well. Melissa Barrera not coming back. Jenna Ortega not coming back. Patrick Dempsey not coming back. And obviously we know Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox are returning as well. So I don't know how I feel about, all these people coming back, because at this point it's just like, it's just going to be a bunch of flashbacks, and I don't want a movie to be riddled with flashbacks, because that was my main issue with Eternals. There were too many flashbacks, and it was just like, come on, can we just tell a story in present day? Anyway, next story, Resident Evil. I told you guys about a month ago that Zach Kreger, who I realized was in one of my, it's not in my top 10, maybe it's in my top 50 comedies of the 2000s, who was in Miss March, was writing a Resident Evil movie and possibly directing it. Well, it's officially happening, so Zach will be writing and directing it, and it will stick to the franchise horror roots, and it will be more faithful to the initial games. And they actually gave it a release date of September 18th of 2026. So I hope this one is good. I saw the first one back in like 98, 99 or whatever with Mila Jovovich. Didn't like it. It was a character assassination to the entire franchise. And I still haven't watched Welcome to Raccoon City. I just remember when I talked about this one, and Constantine Films basically skipping on the CG, like how people are complaining about Marvel CG, which really isn't that bad a good majority of the time. People just like to get one nitpick and just stick to it. But the dogs in that looked horrible in the trailer. Speaking of Marvel, Vin Diesel was actually doing an interview. Don't remember with who. He wasn't actually doing an interview. He was on Instagram and wrote Disney wants their Planet X, which is to say is Marvel's most anticipated movie. The film where Groot returns to his home planet. I'm like, did Marvel actually say they want a Groot movie, or is this just you just kind of throwing something out and see what the initial reactions would be? But he also said that he's working on the script. I'm just like, I don't really know how well a Groot movie would do per se. I like the character Groot. Groot is obviously he's one of those people that needs to be on a team, especially since he only says 3 words, I am Groot, over and over again. It actually wasn't until about maybe like 5-6 years ago that Groot could actually start speaking complete sentences. Like, it may have been longer than that. I feel like it may have been all new X-Men when they did the whole Black Vortex arc, where the time displaced original 5 X-Men, Cyclops, Jean, Angel, Beast. Nah, that wasn't 4 of them. Cyclops, Jean, Beast, Iceman, and Angel. They all went into space, and like Jean basically fixed something that was wrong with Groot's brain or something like that. But I don't know, that whole issue could have been done with them speaking telepathically. I can't remember, it's been so long. But if this does happen, we need Groot to speak in complete sentences. All right. What is my next story? You know what? We're actually going to take a break. Well, I'm saying there's multiple people here. It's just me. And I'll be right back. W. This episode is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby gives you focus and energy without the crash and jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. Mix 1 packet or scoop into 8 or 12 ounces of water. Stir or shake well. Some powderiness is normal, and it has all the important vitamins. So this has vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12. And it's made from coffee fruit extract. So drink it and go conquer a task, and go to Dubby.gg and use my promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's Dubby.gg with promo code AngryBlerd10. All right, I'm back. So, I don't know if y'all recall, but I went to Ranger Stop about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, 2022, yes. So, 2 years ago, this November. No, was it 2022? I feel like it. I can't remember now. You know what? Let me look at my photos real quick. But I went to Ranger Stop and I balled out a little bit too hard. Oh, it was 2023. So yeah, I had a feeling it was 2023 because my accident was in 2021, and it took almost 2 years to get my money. So yeah, I went to Ranger Stop and I balled out. I'm actually going to put the clip here where Ryan more or less lost her shit when I revealed how much money I spent. Samir, after me telling you all that, how much money do you think I spent at Ranger Stop?
$613.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a little hint. The Ultimate Fallout 1 through 6 alone was $700.
You went balls out, huh?
Yeah, so
I have to reevaluate my scope then. 1830.
More.
What the fuck?
Hey, do you, bro? That's a lot of damn money at a con. Like, yo.
$3,812.
Okay. So much money.
Yeah. Shout out to
boy. I actually choked. I actually almost died, and I would have sued your ass. Not even Samir. I would have sued your ass because I almost died in this economy.
Yeah. So the only reason why I bring that up is because my next story pales in comparison to what I spent at Ranger Stop, and what I spent was actually on things that I can play with, and collectibles that I can get signed. But this person spent $87,840 on a Cheeto that looks like Charizard.
Who's that Pokemon?
I am not making that up. I have the photo to prove it. Someone actually put it in a vinyl case and made like a Pokemon card and named it Cheetozard. So this was actually on the Golden auction site. And the notes for the auction said that it was initially discovered and preserved sometime between 2018 to 2022. By First and Gold Collectibles, and the Cheeto surged in popularity on social media platforms as of late 2024, and it was featured on several memorabilia sites such as Arena Club as well as First and Gold Collectibles. So this is food. That might be the name of the episode. I was going to name it something else, but it might be one of the last things that has Red 40 in it, since that has been removed finally from the FDA. Banned by the FDA. So yeah, I could win the lotto tomorrow, and I would never spend $87,840 on a piece of food that kind of looks like something. Okay? It could look like Jason David Frank. I'm not buying it. I don't ever want to hear nothing from nobody about me spending anything on anything ridiculous, okay? Because $87,840. You can probably get a nice DeLorean for that. Let me see how much you can get a DeLorean for. Like a 1985 DeLorean. Let's go to shopping. Hemmings.com. DeLoreans for sale. There's actually 9 on here. So there's a 83 DMC 12, $67,900. 81, $42,500. Another 81, $179,999. Another 81, $74,980. 82, $73,285. Another 81, $81,995. An 83, $134,000 even. Another 81, $81,428. And an 82 just said, hey, you gotta hit us up for the price. So I'm gonna actually look up why the 81, the one that was almost $180,000, why is that one so much? It's probably got less mileage on it. So that one has 39,100 miles on it. I looked up another 81 DeLorean, the one that was 81,000. That one has 34,534 miles on it. Damn. So I guess they realized that once Back to the Future came out, they stopped driving the damn cars. Fuck. Ooh, there's one in Miami. Oh, that's the one that's 179,000. Yeah, can you boy? Oh, that's also why they modeled this one after the one from Back to the Future. I think this is the one that's always at SuperCon. It's got to be it. I want one so bad. They even got the plutonium case, the hoverboard. I'm so mad. I almost got the hoverboard on an auction site, and I got outbid at the last minute. Whoever did that is a bitch. I love Back to the Future. That might also be the name of the episode. I don't know yet. Okay, so yeah, you could have got a DeLorean instead of a freaking Cheeto. That kind of sort of looks like Charizard. Next story. This is regarding Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I told you guys last week that Matthew Lillard was cast in an undisclosed role, but there's a rumor going around that Kirsten Ritter might be returning as Jessica Jones, since the show has officially begun filming as of, I want to say, Monday. And Kirsten Ritter was posting photos and videos of being in the gym, and she actually posted a video on her Instagram story of her being in New York. So people are like, oh my God, is Jessica Jones returning? We don't know. Maybe. I just say wait until, Marvel makes an announcement. Don't blow your load so fast, okay? Be patient. Anyway, my next story is simply this. James Gunn, as we all know, co-head of the DC Studios, director of such classic movies as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 through 3, Slither, The Suicide Squad, creator of Creature Commandos, the Peacemaker TV series, had to basically say, yo, stop listening to Scoopers once again. And he took the threads, the Instagram version of Twitter, which I'm surprised people are still using, to shut down the rumors of Daniel Radcliffe being cast as the lead in the Clayface movie. So he said, as we confirmed the other day, we're closing a deal with James Watkins to direct. Because we don't have a director yet, we haven't even started the casting process. Daniel is great, but we certainly haven't talked to or considered him. So this one is 100% false. Okay? So once again, stop listening to Scoopers. It's just annoying that these people just keep, spreading information that isn't true. We saw with the Insider talking about what was it? Was it Black Panther? I feel like it was. I can't remember. But yeah, he said Cap. Anyway, I am going to talk about comic books now. So I am going to talk about all the things that caught my eye for previews that are books coming out in May, because there was no merch or helmets coming out that caught my eye. But let's talk about one of the first things that caught my eye. This is from Udon Entertainment. They mainly do imported properties, so they do all the Street Fighter stuff. They did the Rival Schools collection, the book that I was talking about that's coming out in April that I want to get, even though I only played the first Rival Schools. They're doing Mega Man timelines. So this is a mini-series of 5 one-shots that is written by Travis Maiden and drawn by Kenny Ruiz. So the synopsis says the Blue Bomber is back. Mega Man returns in 5 connected one-shot comics spanning 5 different eras of robotic heroes. In this first issue, the original Mega Man squares off against 2 explosive and fiery robot masters bent on city-wide destruction. Fight, Mega Man, for everlasting peace. I grew up liking Mega Man. I watched the cartoon. I didn't really play that many Mega Man games. I feel like the first one I might have played was like Mega Man 6. It was like, because I don't even think I played X on the Super Nintendo. No, I didn't, because the first Mega Man X game I played was X4 on the PS1. And I got to see what the first Mega Man game was on the PS1. Not Mega Man X, just Mega Man itself. And I feel like it was Mega Man 6 because there was this dude who lived like right down the street from me. And he had it, and he let me borrow it. No, it wasn't Mega Man 6. Was it Mega Man 8? I don't even think it was Mega Man 8. It was Mega Man 8. So yes. So yeah, he would let me borrow it. And I was obsessed with it. So I wanted this game and could not find it. So I had to settle for a game that it might not have been as good for me, just because I didn't get it. Mega Man Legends, which came out in 97, and I was 11, so I had no business trying to play this borderline RPG game, because I wasn't even a fan of RPGs, and I really just became a fan of them like a decade ago. No, about 20 years ago, whenever the first Kingdom Hearts came out, just because I hate turn-based games. The only turn-based games I ever rocked with were Pokemon on Game Boy. But yeah, so that one is coming out. Did they give a release? They didn't put the release date on here, did they? Just says full color, 32 pages, $4.99. For covers A, B, and D, and cover C is $6.99, which is a blank sketch cover. Yeah, so it doesn't actually have the release date. I would have to double check another time for that. All right, so fresh out of Dynamite, which I've been reading a lot more of lately because they've gotten some of the franchises that I don't get why Marvel doesn't publish this stuff. They own Disney. Well, anyway, Gargoyles, Demona. We are getting a Gargoyles book centered around Demona. It comes out May 1st, actually. So that one has a release date. Don't know why the Udon Mega Man Timelines doesn't have one. And this is written by Gargoyles writer, I believe also co-creator, Greg Weisman, who is currently writing the Gargoyles series. I like Greg Weisman. He actually writes a Spider-Man book, and he also was a head writer on Young Justice. I'm double checking to see if he was a supervising producer on Gargoyles, and he was a co-developer, writer, and producer on Young Justice, and also did voice work. Learn something new every day. So and this is drawn by Frank Pure, who was the head art developer on Gargoyles. So this is a mini Gargoyles reunion, and the synopsis is, hold on a second, I gotta enhance this. Said, kicking off with a special prologue story in Dynamite Forces Free Comic Book Day issue 0, the long-awaited tale of Goliath's former love and sworn enemy of the Manhattan Clan gets underway in earnest with the return of the Dark Ages. But they return to the Dark Ages in the aftermath of the destruction of Castle Wyvern. The year is 1093, and the now immortal Demona has become a lonely and hunted creature, bereft of both clan and home after her betrayal of Scotland's king. She wanders south to Northumberland in search of safe haven, only to find that her old nemesis, Canmore, is raiding the city. Canmore's destruction is visited upon human and gargoyle alike, and when she discovers the depths of his cruelty and the fate of her kind at his hands, Demona's fury sets in motion a cycle of violence that will last 4 centuries and yet may consume the world. Written by Gargoyles creator Greg Weisman and illustrated by acclaimed artist and veteran of the original series Frank Pure, the first chapter in the brand new series century-spanning saga Gargoyles Demona features cover art from the ages of Poir, Megan Hectrek, Jay Lee, Jay Chung, and Mark Spears. So May 14th, actually, I don't know where I said May 1st, this will be coming out. I'm not sure how I feel about the Jay Lee cover. I like Jay Lee, but sometimes his art is just offsetting to me. But so yeah, that one is a must grab. I actually have the first Gargoyle series that Wiseman did back in 2022, I want to say. All right. Image. Like I said, when I'm doing these previews, it's mainly new books. So it's not like a random issue like 17 or something, because I'm usually already reading it. So the Energon Universe Special, this is a one-shot. I don't know why they said Special 2025. They should have said Energon Universe 2025 Special. So this is written by Joshua Williamson, Robert Kirkman, and Daniel Warren Johnson. That's okay. So this is a special new printing of the Universe Free Comic Book Day 2025 special with the biggest names in comics. 3 all new stories from the Energon Universe featuring G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Void Rivals. A perfect jumping on point for new readers and a can't miss for longtime fans. Also comes out May 14th, 32 pages. So for those of you who don't know what the Energon Universe is, Robert Kirkman, creator of Invincible, The Walking Dead, basically went to Image and said, hey, you guys are getting the license to Transformers. I want to basically do a in-universe crossover with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and another book that we're going to create. And that's where Void Rivals comes in. And I've caught up on Void Rivals. I still need to read G.I. Joe, Duke, Scarlet, and Transformers. But from what I'm reading so far, it's actually pretty good. So I definitely have to add this to my pull list. I also forgot there is a Destro and Cobra Commander book as well. If you are a fan of G.I. Joe, I highly recommend you check this out. If you are a fan of Transformers, I definitely recommend that you check this out, okay? All right. Okay, so I am going to jump into DC. So I told you guys about some of the books that were supposed to be coming out, but we're going to go over like the full synopsis of them now. Like I went over like a few of them last month because like the previews, sometimes they get like an advanced look, but this was not one of those. And this is going to be Mr. Terrific Year 1. This is written by Al Leston with art and cover by Valentine Delandro. This will go on sale May 28th. 32 pages, $4.99. Synopsis is: brilliant young inventor Michael Holt's life was destined for greatness, yet everything screeched to a halt when his wife Paula and unborn son were killed in a car accident. The Holts once shared ambitious dreams of using their technology to help others, but after the tragedy, Michael retreats from society and sells Holt Industries to mysterious and craven tech billionaire Athena Prescott. The domino effect of Michael's actions set off an explosive chain of events that take a not so ordinary man from the depths of despair to the heights of heroism. Meanwhile, in the present day, Mr. Terrific continues his research into what became the dark side of the events of the DC All-In special and comes to realize that his past and present may be inextricably linked. Discover all the secrets, sorrows, and triumphs of Mr. Terrific and how he came to be in this thrilling modern retelling and expansion of his origin story by DC Writers Workshop alumnus and multiple award-winning TV writer Al Leston, who worked on Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, and British fantasy award-winning artist Valentine Delandro, who worked on Black Manta and Bitch Planet. So yeah, I'm gonna check that one out. What else did I have from DC? Supergirl. This is one of the ones I told you guys about. Written and drawn by Sophie Campbell, who I actually like. She did Ninja Turtles for a while. 32 pages, May 14th, $3.99. Said Kara Zor-El has been a key member of the super family in Metropolis, but what happens when she strikes out on her own? Follow Kara as she returns to her roots in Midvale, home of Supergirl. But how could this be? Our hero has not been back for years, and the protector of that town has been saving the day for weeks. Can Supergirl stop the imposter before they steal her fresh start in life? Celebrated writer-artist Sophie Campbell makes her mark on the DC universe with this thrilling debut issue. Plus a new costume designed by best-selling cover artist Stanley Artgerm Lowe. So I looked at the costume. It looks the same to me, so I don't know what Artgerm actually changed. Maybe he just put the gold on her wrist and on the top of her boots, but that's it. All right, next one, Superman Unlimited. I told you guys about this one when it was announced. One of my favorite writers, Dan Slott. Actually, he might be my favorite writer because he took the time to sign all my issues of Superior Spider-Man when he had to go to a Q&A. Art and cover by Raphael Albuquerque, who is actually, he's up there with my list of favorite artists. He actually signed a giant cover of, it wasn't a cover, it was actually the issue. My friend Ibrahim got me an artist edition of Huck, which is basically like about 2.5 feet tall and about 1.5 feet wide. So synopsis, 32 pages, standard for comics, $4.99. Goes on sale May 21st. The summer Superman heats up with a brand new ongoing series taking the DCU by storm. When an asteroid the size of Metropolis hurtles toward collision with planet Earth, the Justice League dispatches Superman to avert the crisis, but a sinister threat lurks within that will change the world like never before. And the disaster glows green. The last son of Krypton must risk everything to save his adopted home, the very home which now tries to kill him from complete destruction. The Man of Steel is poised to fly like never before in this new Cornerstone series, brought to life by the dazzling DC debut of writer Dan Slott, who wrote Amazing Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, and renowned artist Raphael Albuquerque, who drew All-Star Batman. So yes, I will definitely be adding that to my pull list. Like I said, I met both those individuals. Very nice. What else do I have for DC? That might be it for DC. It's just those 3 books. All right, so yeah, Marvel. There is a new giant size X-Men coming out. And this is, like I said, all these books are in May. So written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, who worked on damn, I can't remember the book. They did a book that I bought that was written by, that was drawn by Marcus Toe. I can't remember the name of the book at the moment. With art by Adam Kubert. Did I meet Adam or Andy? I believe I met Adam. So yeah, this is just in time for the 50th anniversary of the original Uncanny X-Men series. And this looks like it's going to be centered around everyone's favorite mutant. Yeah, I don't want to say everyone because, there's races out there. So ever since she discovered she was a mutant, Kamala Khan has been balancing her previous life as Miss Marvel with the role as the leader of the new community. In the new community. But her conflicted identity has come at a deep personal cost. Now pulled into the distant past by an unhinged villain with deep ties to mutant history, Miss Marvel will witness the iconic birth of the Uncanny X-Men in their first encounter with Krakoa from an all-new, all-different perspective. But when history begins to change, can either Kamala Khan or the X-Men themselves survive the experience? So this is a 40-page one-shot. This is going to be the first of 5 giant size one-shots. 40 pages, $4.99. Let me see if I can find a release date, because for some weird reason, Marvel does not put the release dates on their books. And I'm just like, make that make sense. I'm looking at the release dates. Giant size X-Men will be out May 28th. So Spider-Man and Wolverine. I believe this is a mini-series. This is written by Mark Guggenheim. And this is drawn by Kari Andrews. All right, I'm not making that sound effect noise, so sorry, not sorry. So it said, did you hear that? That sound can only mean one thing. 2 of your favorite Marvel heroes doing what they do best. With great power, there must also come the best there is. Spider-Man and Wolverine team up for their biggest adventure in Marvel Comics. Who or what is targeting this unlikely duo? And what can they do to stop it? Get ready for non-stop thrill. Get ready for a non-stop thrill ride of big villains, bigger threats, and even bigger surprises as Logan and Peter Parker team up against the machinations of a plot that are just too big for one hero. 32 issues, $4.99. Let me see if I can get the release date on that one. Spider-Man and Wolverine, May 7th. Spider-Verse versus Venomverse. Written by Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom. Art by Luciano Vicio. So it said, the Arachnid War is here with the fates of the Spider-Verse and Venomverse hanging in the balance. These 8-legged warriors will stop at nothing from protecting their people or die trying. Will Spider-Man and his friends succeed in protecting the web heart, or will Venom and his symbiotic comrades prove that the hive mind fights for survival? Meet the newest webhead Spider Prowler, as well as the mysterious symbiote Yellow, as the savage battle risks their extinction. 32 pages, $4.99. And it also looks like we're back to doing foil variants, which was a big thing in the 90s. But Spider-Verse versus Venomverse will go on sale on May 14th. All right, the Gwenpool book I told you guys about is apparently a mini-series written by Kevin Scott, art by Stefano Nessi. I'm basically going to reread the same thing I read like two weeks ago. Everyone's favorite reality twister's life is changing, becoming darker, grittier, and bringing her own brand of hyper-violence to a battle-stern NYC. Who is this Dark Gwenpool, and what does she have to do with the spectacular Spider-Man? Guest starring Fing Fang Foom and Jeff the Land Shark. This one will shock you to your core. It's not really shocking because who is it? It seems like it's not even Gwen, because Gwen isn't a reality twister. May 14th for that one. Amadeus Cho 20th anniversary special, written by Greg Pak and drawn by Takashi Miyazawa. So this is a trio of stories written by Greg Pak, exploring the thrilling, moving, and never before seen moments from different stages in Amadeus's career. So it's actually drawn by several other artists. Said first joined Amadeus, Hercules, and the Renegades on the Evil World Hulk in a story drawn by Amadeus Show's co-creator Takashi Miyazawa. Then returned to the era of Totally Awesome Hulk as Amadeus and his sister Maddie Cho discover a lifelong hidden secret that just might break your heart. And finally, Amadeus is in his Brawn era, tackles a shocking new threat and emerges in a whole new form. One shot, 40 pages, $5.99. And this will go on sale. Where is May 7th? I think I got 2 more. Then I'm gonna stop this and start up again. So What If has been leaning into the Disney side of things, and here's the first one to come out for 2025. Marvel and Disney. What if Donald Duck became Iron Man? Written by Luca Babari and Steve Belling, and drawn by Donald Safredi. So it said from foul to shellhead, inspired by the very first appearance of Iron Man and Tales of Suspense 39. Donald Duck finds himself in the clutches of the Beagle Boys, forced to build a machine to crack into his Uncle Scrooge's money bin. Donald has other plans and builds the ultimate suit of armor. Can the fearless foul foil the plans of the Beagle Boys and make it to his date with Daisy Duck? So 32 pages, $3.99. I like the Mark Brooks variant of Donald flying, and he's got the Beagle Boys tied up. But here's my question. Is Donald going to get some type of injury where, he has to build an arc reactor into his chest? That is the question. All right, so What If is going on sale. Where is it? I don't see it. I see Venom Original. May 28th. So end of the month. All right, last one. Star Wars is coming back for its 3rd series. It's either its 3rd or its 4th volume under Disney. This is written by Alex Aguirre, drawn by Phil Noto. So this is the run that everyone wanted. So this run takes place after Return of the Jedi. So Luke Skywalker must defend the New Republic from a bloodthirsty gang of mercenaries. Han Solo investigates a deadly underworld mystery and saves a surprising ally, and Leia Organa must grapple with the new alliance opposed to the goals of the New Republic. So Star Wars issue 1 will be going on sale on May 7th. I'm blind. Anyway, I gotta stop the recording because it's gonna cut off in like 2 minutes, and I'll come back with the reviews. All right, I'm back. I left my glasses over on the table, so it is what it is. So I want to get into something that is very near and dear to my heart, and it is Power Rangers. As I said before, when I talked about somebody spending $87,000 on a Cheeto, I spent a significant amount of money at a con on Power Ranger stuff. So I actually want to talk about the Playmates Power Ranger figures that were shown at the New York Toy Fair about a week ago. So one of the things they did was they went back to the classic head flip Rangers. You hit a little button on the back and it flips up with the helmet or without the helmet. They look a lot bulkier than the flip up figures that Bandai did, or even the ones that Hasbro did. So I have no intention of getting those, and they just look horrible, honestly. It's like the paint job is bad. I'm just like, good grief, like this ain't it, Chief. And one of the reasons they went to Playmates for the licensing is because Playmates really doesn't do things with points of articulation. So that was the automorphing figures. They show like some regular figures like Rita Repulsa. I don't know, like, what is that face? Because it is, I'm just like, oh god, this is horrible. Squat is too bright blue. At this point, it's just really nitpicking. But what do you expect? These figures, they don't really have like intricate details on the face. It's just like generic BS. So like they showed some of the figures, like they got the battle bikes those are decent, but still not really that many points of articulation. The regular figures, they're moderately decent, I guess you could say, but the weapons look like crap. So like the flip figures in I think that's it will be coming out in 2025, so sometime this year. The figures I'm talking about now with the bad details and the Megazord, it looks like that will be coming out in 2026. Like even the Megazord, I don't know if it's a reflection on the face piece or what, but it looks like they just painted the whole thing red. Like they didn't even bother. Well, I guess that Megazord is it's a light up toy, but they do have like the separate Megazords where you can put the Megazord in battle mode and fighting mode. But I'm just like, I don't like any of this stuff, honestly. The only things that I might get, oh yeah, they're also doing they're doing masks. They're not doing helmets. So we're just going back to the masks that cover your face with the strap for the back. But they also show the Morpher. It just looks like it should be like $5, but they're charging like $16.99 for it. It has 2 buttons on the top that have 40 different catchphrases and whatnot. The best way that they could have did this is they could have just ripped off the Hasbro version of the Morpher, where when you morph, you push one button to activate the Morpher, and there's another button on the other side to make all the sounds and everything. So I might get that just to fool around with, because I did not buy the original 5 Ranger Hasbro Morpher. Well, I did buy it, but then I returned it, so I had buyer's remorse on that. I'm probably only going to get that Morpher and the Power Blaster, because I don't have a Power Blaster, and I have a Power Ranger suit with a holster for a blaster. The Dragon Dagger looks like absolute ass. They're doing like these little plush figures as well. When those come out, I'll probably get one for my nephew. But like the blaster might be the only thing that looks like good per se. I still don't like the fact that when you put it in like little dagger mode, the blade is just like it's red. Like I said, at this point I'm nitpicking, but I'm just not a fan of this stuff from Playmates. And it looks like we might also be getting like the big 8-inch figures that we got before when I was a kid. Although they just basically use the same mold for everything, just the helmet is different. Like, why is the Pink Ranger and the Yellow Ranger buff as hell? Make that make sense. But it is what it is. Also, one of the things that came out, so as all this Power Ranger stuff is coming out, it's got a subtitle of Reignition, which I thought was just a revival of the toy series and everything. But also apparently Playmates and Hasbro are using AI to digitally enhance season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to be released on YouTube and Netflix. He said now even more phenomenal with the power of AI. Season 1 will start dropping in July with more to follow. Which is, generative AI does not always look good. So the best thing they could have done with this is just basically go in and upscale and remaster it themselves, because it's really probably going to look like crap. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, all of Power Rangers is on YouTube, from Mighty Morphin to maybe Mega Force, maybe further back, I don't know. But Power Rangers is going out bad, honestly. Like, Hasbro flooded the market with everything, not just Power Rangers. Like, that's why if you go into Ollie's, there's a lot of Power Rangers. I mean, there's a lot of Hasbro stuff in that store, because Ollie's is a liquidator. So like, they'll buy all the stuff from like these stores for cheap and then sell it for cheap. Like, perfect example, I want a Miggs Mayfield action figure. For those of you who don't know, Miggs Mayfield is played by Bill Burr on The Mandalorian. He's actually one of my favorite comedians. I am actually going to see how much his figure is on Hasbro Pulse. Apparently there is no Mayfield anymore. Hold on, let's go to Star Wars. Shop all Star Wars. Can I filter it by TV series? No, I cannot. Here we go. Name A to Z. Star Wars Vintage, Boba Fett. Can I change how many releasing more helmets? But like, that's one thing that will never be on clearance at Ollie's is a Hasbro helmet. I don't see Mayfield, but he was on here before. But Mayfield is, I think, $10 at Ollie's. They're still selling the Acolyte figures despite, you know, canceling the series. Let me just look up Meg's Mayfield figure. Okay, it's just pretty much cheap everywhere now, unless you go to like a third party selling it for like $25. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna get probably 2 of those because Bill Burr. All right, so I'm going to cue the spoiler alert, and we are going to talk about Invincible Season 3, Episode 7, What Have I Done? Directed by Haley Herrick, written by creator of Invincible, Robert Kirkman. So, Angstrom sends his Invincible variants to destroy Earth and tarnish Mark's image. Public perception is key, people. The GDA, the Guardians, and other Earth's heroes are overwhelmed, and like a lot of them like get their asses kicked or die. Eve ends up getting her leg like almost torn completely off. Rex dies, killing an Invincible variant. Rudy, Monster Girl, and Bulletproof all get away from because of Rex's sacrifice. Darkwing is presumed dead. Immortal almost dies. A lot of Kate Dupes dies, so they're just like, you know what, we're done. Samson and Shakesmith are down and out. All the Invincible variants turn on Angstrom because they promised to he promised to let them rule the multiverse. But we also found out how he came back. He was within an inch of his life and teleported to some scientists who basically put him back together again on some $6 Million Man stuff. Mark Prime, let's call him Mark Prime because we got variants here, confronts Angstrom and they fight outside of his house. Oliver shows up, says kill him. Mark hesitates. Angstrom escapes, but not before Mark grabs his arm, and you know, Angstrom closes the portal and basically slices it off. So Angstrom tells the surgeons to fix him, and they're like, no, we're done being your lapdogs, you're gonna work for us now. After everything that's happened, Mark meets Eve's parents, and you know, Eve's mom is being nice to Mark. Well, Eve's dad is being, you know, his regular self. Mark goes out and does repairs and, you know, cleanup duty throughout the world, and none other than Conquest shows up. So Conquest is here. That might also be the name of the episode, but voiced by none other than Jeffrey D. Morgan. And this was like literally the first arc I read. Like I said, I picked up this book at like issue 50, and I don't really recall that much filler. But we this is like, well, let's say the first 2 arcs, because this finale, if they do it the way I think they're gonna do it, y'all are gonna be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So yes, my only issue with this episode is I don't like the way that it ended. Like, that's how the comic ends, but their poses are completely different. Like the pose of Mark and Conquest going at each other is so epic. It's like a Dragon Ball Z fight. Like, Mark takes off, they don't both punch at each other. Like, Conquest is punching down at Mark, but Mark is just like straight shooting at him like a bullet. Like, I'm gonna post it here so y'all can see it. But yes, one more episode, and then, you know, that's it for Invincible. Let's talk about Daredevil Born Again. All right. airing on Disney Plus. First 2 episodes dropped on Tuesday, I want to say. Episode 1 is called Heaven's Hour, directed by Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. Aaron Moorhead, I believe, worked on Moon Knight. I believe they both worked on Moon Knight, actually, because they don't have separate Wikipedia pages. Yes, they worked on Moon Knight and Loki. And written by Dario Scardapane. Yes, Scardapane. Matt, Foggy, and Karen are all heading to Josie's to celebrate a friend of theirs, Cherry, his retirement from the police force. Foggy receives a call while trying to rizz up Kirsten McDuffie. Matt eavesdrops. It's a client of theirs named Benny, who is freaking out. He said that somebody's after him. Matt suits up as Daredevil and heads to Foggy's apartment where Benny is hiding out. But Benny reveals that somebody wanted to know where Foggy was. So Matt is still listening to the call. He realizes that Foggy is in danger, and Foggy gets shot by none other than Bullseye. Matt shows up to save Karen. Foggy is bleeding out while Karen is, putting pressure on the wound. Matt and Bullseye are fighting throughout Josie's bar. I'll get into that when I get into the end of the episode, my notes on that. They make it all the way up to the rooftop where where Matt is still hearing Foggy's heartbeat slow down. And Foggy dies, and Matt throws Bullseye off of the roof of Josie's. He also takes off his helmet. And Cherry now knows that Matt is Daredevil. All right, we jump to a year later. Matt has hung up his billy club and his cow, and now he has started a new law firm with Kirsten McDuffie. And we see that Dex, aka Bullseye, is on trial for Foggy's murder, and he gets life in prison. Karen shows up, asks him how he's been, gives him a little bit of small talk, gives him back one of the horns that broke off of his cowl during his fight with Bullseye. Kirsten sets Matt up on a blind date with her friend Helen, who is a therapist. Also, the events of Echo and Hawkeye are referenced in this episode. So at the end of Echo, you guys recall me telling you that Wilson was considering running for mayor. Picks up right after this, so he gets enough signatures where he can run for mayor on a anti-vigilantism campaign. So Matt and Wilson meet up. They discuss a few of the issues that happened between the end of season 3 of Daredevil and up to the current events of now in the MCU. So I rewatched all 3 seasons of Daredevil and Defenders to get ready for this show, just in case, because I haven't watched it since 2018. So Matt put Wilson away, and the agreement was, you don't go anywhere near my friends, or I'm coming after Vanessa next. And so Wilson clears the air and says, I had nothing to do with Foggy's death. I stayed to our agreement. And he asks Matt about his other half, and Matt's like, I don't do that anymore. And Wilson's like, if I run for mayor, you better not be out here running these streets. And Matt threatened him as well. He said, look, I may be Catholic, but I know all about forgiveness and retribution, so you better keep your stuff together and I won't have to come after you. Matt goes out on a date, a second date with Heather, while Wilson wins the campaign for mayor. And Wilson also reveals to his wife Vanessa that he knows that she cheated on him with Adam, and she asks him not to kill him. So he's like, okay, fine, whatever. So yeah, Fisk is the mayor. So we're getting a lot of story elements from more recent runs of Daredevil and everything that's happened in the 616. So Wilson actually became mayor in the comics about maybe 3 to 4 years ago. And he basically did the same thing. He put in an anti-vigilantism law called the Cape Law or something like that. I can't remember. Where basically nobody could be a hero. Otherwise, you're getting arrested. And a lot of this went into effect because in the comics, Matt accidentally killed somebody and he turned himself in. But he also was able to get a law established where if you are a hero and you end up getting arrested, your identity cannot be revealed whatsoever. You will get fingerprinted. You will still go through the traditional byproducts of the law, fingerprinted, booked and everything, but your identity will remain secret. So Matt spent like a good 8 months in prison just with his Daredevil cowl on. And he eventually ended up getting released. But Wilson became a mayor, and check out Devil's Reign. It's actually written by, I feel like it was Matt Fraction, and Marco Cicchetto was the art. I'm sorry, not Matt Fraction, Chip Zdarsky. I'm tripping. It was during the Chip Zdarsky run of Daredevil. But there have also been a lot of theories going on with this first episode, because something else that happened in this episode also happened in the comics. Although, if they do this, they need to make it make sense, because when Matt was in prison the first time during the whole Civil War thing, when the feds were trying to prove they was Daredevil, Foggy gets shanked, but he ends up getting saved by Vanessa, and they basically put him into hiding so they can try to figure out where who set up Matt. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but if they do, they really have to explain how Matt heard this man's heart stop. Because also in this episode we did not see a funeral, we just jumped to a year. So they need to make that also make sense. I might actually go back and reread this run of Daredevil, honestly, now that I think about it, because this was I want to say it was Ed Brubaker and Michael Lark. So yes, they need to also make that make sense. So episode 2, Optics, directed by Michael Custa, written by Matt Corman and Chris Ord. So this episode starts off with a man being attacked in a subway station, and then this bystander comes and helps, and one of the individuals who's doing the attacking gets killed, and you find out that he was an undercover cop. So Matt's actually at the police department defending a client and speaking to said client's daughter or wife. I don't know. They didn't really go into details of who she was, but Matt overhears Hector Aiello being beat by the cops and trying to be forced to sign a confession. So Matt goes in, tells him that I'm gonna defend you. I believe that you're innocent, so on and so forth. Kirsten kind of loses it. She's like, yo, he killed a cop, man. You trying to basically get us blacklisted and by the cops. And he's like, look, no, he's innocent. So he has Cherry try to track down the guy who got away, who Hector saved. Meanwhile, Fisk is doing his mayoral stuff. So he's actually supposed to be going somewhere. And there's a big hole in the middle of the road, and he gets out, tells the construction crew, why isn't this fixed? And the foreman's like, yo, we're waiting on permits. He's like, yo, screw the permit, just do the job, okay? I'm the mayor, do it. So he gets a lot of applause from bystanders watching. Hence one of the reasons why this episode is called Optics. Kirsten and Cherry go to Hector's house to try to get his wife to come to court after he has already had his preliminary hearing where his bond was denied. Cherry finds out that Hector was White Tiger. Matt reveals that to the judge and opposing counsel. They're like, look, I found this in discovery. Cannot use this against him. He was not in a suit. He did not have his magical amulet to grant him any powers. So they're like, fine, whatever. The police commissioner, who is about to resign due to the fact that Wilson has become the mayor, but Wilson threatens Gallo, who is the commissioner, about his infidelity with some chick in Philly. And Ben Urich's niece, BB, actually has a quick interview with Wilson, but asks him about his wife, which basically is like, nah, we're done now. Wilson and Vanessa go to couples therapy to try to get through their issues. Matt actually tracks down the guy who the cops were beating on. His name was Nicky Torres. Tells him that 2 cops are coming to kill him. Matt just sits there and waits in the apartment while the cops come in. They beat Matt up and they bring the devil out of him. All right. So yes, good episodes. So let's get to the nitpick. Episode 1 tried to do the whole one take situation like they did in the Netflix Daredevil series. It doesn't work because you're not in a isolated space and your shots are too wide. Like, I liked it, but everyone had notes about it. Like, and I'm gonna need people who don't read comics to just honestly, disrespectfully shut the fuck up, okay? Because people are complaining about Matt swinging around. Pick up a comic. Matt uses that billy club to swing around the city, just like Spider-Man uses his webs, okay? I get that you didn't see it in the Netflix series because for some odd reason, ABC Studios and Marvel Television, which produced and, you know, were responsible for Daredevil, not Netflix. Netflix was just a distributor. They were afraid to do it, I guess, because of everything with the Ben Affleck movie. That's why his suit was also like a muted red. So Marvel's like, we're leaning into the full comic lore of Daredevil now. We got him a bright red suit. He's swinging around New York City. But yeah, so like that shot was a little bit jarring because not only do you start in the bar, you then go into, I guess, the pool room. Then you work your way up a hallway just to go to a roof. Like, that's not a good warner because you're going in too many places. Like, if you're in one place like a hallway or like the prison in season 3, where you're just going from room to room but on the same level, that's cool. But that was my only nitpick. But as far as season 2 goes, does BB know that Fisk killed her uncle? The uncle that she's named after? Like, he literally choked that man out. Great. I gotta rewatch season 1 because I watched it like sometime last year to gear up for this show. Then I stopped and I just like burned through season 1 of Luke Cage, season 1 of Iron Fist, Defenders, and season 3 of Daredevil, all within like the span of like 3 weeks to a month. Other than that, episode 2, like I said, was pretty good. The BB thing was a little bit annoying. Matt's girlfriend is Wilson's therapist, so that's going to be a little bit awkward. Trying to think what else. What else did I miss? Oh yeah, no Karen. Karen moved to San Francisco, where actually in the comics Matt met Kirsten McDuffie. So I don't know. We got what, 7 more episodes. So why the fuck do people like ride down the street like lunatics? But anyway, I don't have any more things to say, guys. This episode is going to be super long for me. So that was another lengthy episode of the Angry Blerd podcast. I'm your host, Bernard. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Not next week, but 2 weeks from now, I'll be reviewing Novocaine. And at the end of March, I will be reviewing The Electric State because I don't want to review 2 movies on 1 episode. So yeah, guys, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to w.gg, use the promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.